Welcome back to Building Character, where we figure out how to play as your favorite fictional characters in Dungeons & Dragons. Follow me on Twitch to watch these runs live, and like and subscribe for a satisfying finale next time you play. Maybe. Today we're building Radagon of the Golden Order, but also Marika, because she's his other half. Not like the normal way married people are like, oh, Marika's my other half. No, like she is him and he is her, and they're married, but they're also the same person, but also he has a hammer, but it's also her hammer though, and they're gods. Taika made a movie about it, comes out Friday. I made a video about the movie and Elden Ring, also out Friday. Maybe check that out.
I love me. I don't know about you. But baby, I love me.
Before we get started, I'm playing a lot of Elden Ring over on Twitch to make more videos for the channel. So we'll have an extra episode of Building Character here every week and an Elden Ring building character every week here. Subscribe so you don't miss them. Let's start off with our goals for this build. First, we need to use a light hammer. Not the D&D weapon light hammer, but more like a war hammer, made of light. Next, we need to make some big old AoEs. Since every Tarnished is coming in with some variation of a ghost friend, you also probably need to smack up. Finally, we'll just teleport out of a combo if we don't like it. So probably a combo hitting us. For stats, we'll be using the standard point array from the player's handbook. Roll for stats if you want, just keep your multi-classing minimums in mind. Strength will be number 1. Your ex-husband says strength befits a crown, so if you're gonna marry yourself, you need to be strong. Wisdom after that, you need big insight to read those rolls. Charisma next, you need to love yourself and be lovable enough to be loved by yourself. Follow that up with dexterity, you head into battle with nothing but a prayer skirt, even if you definitely have the strength for heavy armor. Intelligence is a bit low. We really just need religion to understand the Golden Order, and we'll dump Constitution. If Radagon has a weakness, it's the Elden Beast. I mean, his second phase being the Elden Beast, so he has less HP. It's another holy child from Elden Ring. This time we're gonna go Scourge Aasimar, boosting our wisdom and strength up to 16 with our 2 free points. You get 60 feet of dark vision, the light cantrip, even though you have dark vision, healing hands to heal a creature as an action with a number of hit points equal to your total level, and celestial resistance to resist necrotic and radiant damage. Obviously you resist holy damage. Elden Ring really punishes anyone who wants to rock a holy weapon. Take the soldier background for athletics and intimidation to be absolutely shredded and to get the Tarnished crapping their greaves when they enter your arena. We'll kick things off as a paladin, letting us grab 2 skills from the paladin list, like religion and insight. That's probably how you catch my rolls every time. Probably, definitely not just panic rolling. Paladins get divine sense, letting you detect celestials, fiends, or undead an amount of times equal to your charisma modifier. Tarnished sure do die a lot. They are dead, that yet live, after all. There's also lay on hands, letting you heal a creature from a pool equal to 5 times your paladin level as an action. I'm really glad he doesn't have this in Elden Ring. Radagon does not need a flask. Second level paladins get important paladin spells like Shield of Faith, which adds 2 to a creature's AC for up to 10 minutes, probably important if you're not wearing a shirt. Thunderous Smite adds 2d6 thunder damage to your next weapon attack and forces a strength saving throw on a creature you hit, knocking them prone and pushing them back 10 feet if they fail for a giant smash. If you'd rather have several smaller smashes, Divine Favor adds a d4 of radiant damage to your weapon attacks for a minute. That could add up to 10d4 by the time you're done with it. Or you could use a spell slot on Divine Smite, adding 2d8 radiant damage to an attack with a weapon and an extra d8 to fiends and undead, like the Tarnished. Since you can wait to declare that smite until after you've made the attack roll, save it for a critical hit and double that damage again. It's rad. You also get a fighting style here like Dueling to add 2 to the damage rolls of a weapon you're holding one-handed. Unfortunately, no great weapon master here. Radagon really just swings the hammer one-handed. The other hand is being used to throw god bolts. Third level paladins can choose a sacred oath. Oath of Vengeance is really the Oath of Violence. With that, you get 2 options for a channel of divinity. Abjure enemy forces a wisdom saving throw on an enemy. Failing that, they're frightened and their movement speed is set to 0. Or you could use Vow of Enmity to give yourself advantage on attack rolls against a creature, stalling your hits to wait for that roll. This is also where you get Radiant Consumption as a Scourge Aasimar, letting you add your total level in radiant damage to 1 attack per round and half your level in radiant damage to creatures within 10 feet of you. It's a little extra radiant oomph. 4th level paladins get an ability score improvement. Let's start off with strength for more accurate and heavier hits. 5th level paladins get an extra attack, letting you make 2 attacks in 1 action, making Divine Favor more potent, and some other stuff we get later. You also get 2nd level spells like Misty Step for free from the Vengeance list. That lets you teleport 30 feet as a bonus action. Now you can hit people and blink away before they get to hit you. God, I hate it when he does that. Now we need a bit more order, so we'll become a cleric of the War Domain, not the Order Domain. It's just not things Radagon does. I do like Order Domain though. War Domain just gets used a lot because there's a lot of violence in video games. items, which I'm personally a big fan of. With the War Priest ability, you can make a weapon attack as a bonus action a number of times per long rest equal to your wisdom modifier. That's 3 attacks in a round, which means potentially 3 smites in a round, and we'll get bigger smites by getting bigger spell slots from Cleric. Hooray! You can also learn Cleric cantrips like Sacred Flame to force a dexterity saving throw on a creature, dealing 2d8 radiant damage if they fail to roll out of the way. Word of Radiance forces a Constitution saving throw on creatures within 5 feet of you, dealing 2d6 radiant damage to those that fail for a nice AoE light slam. Resistance gives a creature a d4 to add to their next saving throw, helping you deal with the low Constitution. For first level spells, Guiding Bolt fires a ranged spell attack that deals 4d6 radiant damage on hit and gives the next attack roll against that target advantage, like throwing a laser down and then attacking the tarnished as they roll away, like a turd would. Second level clerics get another option for a Channel of Divinity. Guided Strike adds 10 to one attack roll if you really need to hit. It works so much better if you're using Great Weapon Master, but it's not like bad. Or you could turn undead, forcing a wisdom saving throw on an undead, and they have to dash away if they fail. Lock up that Erd tree, no one gets to hang out with you. Third level clerics can learn second level cleric spells. Aid is a great backup if you didn't invest in Vigor, giving up to 3 creatures 5 extra HP to use for the next 8 hours. That's real honest to goodness HP that you have temporarily. So it's not temporary HP, but it is temporary. Does that make sense? You can upcast it to add another 5 HP per spell level you add. Since most of your damage is going to be coming from 4th level smites, you're actually going to have a ton of extra slots later. We'll talk about it in a bit. 4th level clerics get another ability score improvement, cap off your strength. We're going to be using that to hit things most often. 5th level clerics can learn 3rd level spells. Spirit Shroud lets you add a d8 of radiant, cold, or necrotic damage to your attacks you make against creatures within 10 feet of you. Go for radiant. It also reduces their movement speed by 10 feet and prevents them from healing. There's only one thing Radagon hates more than the Elden Ring, and that's someone who took a sip of fruit punch. You also can destroy undead of challenge rating 1/2 or lower when you use the turn undead option for a Channel of Divinity. If the tarnished hasn't leveled Vigor by the time they reach the Erd tree, honestly, they deserve to die. 6th level clerics get another use of Channel Divinity, so now you can have 2 per short rest. You don't get an extra use from multi-classing, just more options. And war clerics get another option here as well. War God's Blessing lets you give a creature plus 10 to their next attack roll. It's the same as Guiding Strike, but for sharing. 7th level clerics can learn 4th level spells. Stone Skin gives a creature resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage for up to an hour if you'd rather play defensively than offensively. Doesn't seem like Radagon's way to play. I'd just use those 4th level slots for a big 5d8 smite. 8th level clerics get Blessed Strikes, adding a d8 of radiant damage to one attack per round, so that's 1d8 plus 13 extra radiant damage when you've got radiant consumption up. Effectively, another attack that doesn't require you to hit beyond the first hit you had to hit this. Does that make sense? You also get another ability score improvement. Start working on your wisdom, since that's the stat we're actually going to use for our holy spells. The paladin spells are just flat buffs that don't really need a high casting modifier. 9th level clerics can learn 5th level spells, and this is where the good stuff comes in. Flame Strike forces a dexterity saving throw on creatures in a 10-foot radius, 40-foot high cylinder of holy fire, dealing 4d6 radiant and 4d6 fire damage to those that fail, half as much to those that succeed. Dawn is another option, making a 30-foot radius, 40-foot high cylinder of light that forces a Constitution saving throw on creatures inside, dealing 4d10 radiant damage to those that fail. In addition to being bigger, it can also stay up for a minute, dealing that damage every time a creature starts their turn inside. Now, we could grab Holy Weapon, but 2d8 radiant damage is the same as Spirit Shroud when cast at the 5th level, so I think I'll just rock that and get the extra effects. 10th level clerics get Divine Intervention, letting you ask the Golden Order for a favor by rolling a d100. If you roll less than your cleric level, the Golden Order will intervene in some vague way. Maybe they'll send a space slug in as backup. It's up to your DM. If you fail, try again tomorrow. If you succeed, you have to wait a week. 11th level clerics can learn 6th level spells. Sunbeam forces a Constitution saving throw on creatures in a 60-foot line, dealing 6d8 radiant damage to those that fail, half as much to those that succeed. You can spam those lasers every round for up to a minute, depending on your concentration. 12th level clerics get another ability score improvement, cap off that wisdom modifier for the maximum tree lasers. 13th level clerics can learn 7th level spells, and I don't really need any. So if you were to use a 7th level spell slot on aid, you could give yourself and 2 friends 30 extra HP for the next 8 hours, or you could use Spirit Shroud for an extra 3d8 radiant damage on every weapon attack. There's a lot of great options for the slot, even if there isn't a great Radagon option for the 7th level spell. 14th level clerics have their Blessed Strikes bump up to 2d8, which means that once per turn you're dealing 2d8 plus 19 radiant damage with with your radiant consumption active. That's bigger than just about any attack you could make, but we'll save the damage calcs for the end. Our capstone is the 15th level of Cleric for 8th level spells like Sunburst, forcing a Constitution saving throw on creatures in a 60-foot radius, dealing 12d6 radiant damage to those that fail, and blinding them, half damage, no blinding if they succeed. It's the most massive radiant slam you can make. But if it's only one-on-one, maybe you should just attack. Now that we've hit level 20, let's figure out how viable this build is. First, you can bring that hammer down 3 times in a round with War Priest. Each hit will get 4d8 radiant damage if you cast a 9th level Spirit Shroud. One hit gets an extra 2d8 plus 20 radiant damage if your radiant consumption is active, and you can get 15d8 from 3 divine smites for a grand total of 3d8 plus 21 bludgeoning damage, base damage of the hammer, plus 39d8 plus 20 radiant damage, or around 209 with median rolls. You also have massive area of effect spells that have big damage if you need to handle a crowd. Finally, you've got some very big strength, so you're going to be able to pick things up and put them down. For weaknesses, you're really dependent on radiant damage, so it would stink if you ran into other Elden Ring bosses. They all resist wholly, except for a few birds that only show up at night. You're also low on health, with around 95 depending on how you roll, but you could fix that up spending a spell slot on aid. If you use your 9th level spell on that though, it's still only 135. That becomes an issue with your low AC, 11 if you're not wearing armor, although you have proficiency with heavy armor, so it could be 18, that's better, it's just a role-playing choice. So Radagon is only weak if he can't kill something, and he's really good at killing things. Smash the Tarnished, shatter the Elden Ring, and protect your wife, who is you. Just to make sure you finish the job. If someone beats you, they're in for a fate much, much worse than death. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, subscribe for more. We're making a ton of extra Elden Ring content over here. Join my Twitch if you want to watch live streams, and sub to the Patreon to support the channel.